Welcome to Between a Mushroom.
Thank you for having me.
Literally, yeah. So we got some Ganoderma polychromum right here. We got pay respects to the reishi.
Beautiful.
But yeah, Jacob. So we met back in Monterey.
My name is Jacob DeVecchio. I started Oklahoma Fungi back in 2020. Prior to that, I didn't have, mushrooms were a hobby. And so it was losing my job that I transitioned to starting as an entrepreneur or a mycopreneur and getting into the world of mushrooms. So started off growing gourmet mushrooms, getting into products like tinctures, and then really getting into education. And so now more so than the products, I'm known for education and for putting together events. So
Nice.
I'm here in Telluride to learn more about what's going on here at what they say is the largest festival in North America. I'm very excited because there's a ton of people, a ton of great vendors, and I get to chat with you and learn more about the MyCOreach mobile lab.
Yeah, thanks for checking out the van. You stopped by early on and kind of saw us. You got a festival coming up, so I definitely want you to plug that. So on there.
We have the second annual Oklahoma Mushroom Festival coming up. That is October 12th and 13th. It's a family-friendly event. We have 118 vendors, 38 educators, an immersive experience room, 2 education rooms, and 1 workshop room.
Wow.
It's a 17,000 square foot expo hall, so it's a little bit different than this outdoor setting here in Telluride. But for us, our audience in Oklahoma is in that urban setting. So we found that by hosting it in the center of the city, we get a much larger audience, which helps us break those stigmas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think education is a huge aspect for us as well. I mean, you saw, so bringing MyCOreach here and sort of launching this V1 model of off-the-grid sort of mobile lab. You had a minute to check it out. What are your initial thoughts on it? And is there any sort of applications that you could kind of see for something like this?
Yeah, for me, the first thing that I thought of was that it took the community lab or the local lab idea to another level. So everyone in Oklahoma, everyone that I've been working with, we have our own units for flow hoods and for labs. But what we really need to get more people interested is to have somewhere that's open for people can go in, not have to purchase all the expensive equipment, but they can pay or they can attend a class and learn how to use it before they make the investment.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't need to make the investment. That's kind of the thing. Maybe they don't need to have the expensive flow hood. Maybe their passion is in myco materials, which you don't really need a flow hood for. And so I think the mobile lab takes it in a way for education opportunities to be able to take it out to a forest or out to an event, collect mushrooms, work in the lab, do the sequencing, here somewhere where it's not a typical lab setting.
Yeah.
So I definitely see the value, and especially being able to travel around, connect with new places, but not have to worry about lugging around expensive equipment. It's already set up and ready to go.
Awesome. And I guess, so is this your first?
Yes.
Mine too.
Yes, first full Telluride.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Same.
Yes, it's been great so far.
Yeah. Hopefully it's the best one. The 44th annual, it turns out. 44 years, it's pretty crazy. But I guess, so if you weren't who you were, like if you weren't driven by those things, is there anything, or what do you find that would bring you back next year, or what are you excited about for Telluride in general?
I think the opportunity to learn about DNA sequencing. That, right now my education, my passion is cultivation and foraging. But to be able to take it deeper, I want to get into DNA sequencing, and I've been inspired by Alan, by Will, by Mandy, a lot of amazing speakers here who have really been sharing and trying to recognize the importance of DNA sequencing, a part of the foraging. And so I've been foraging for a while now, and I think I'm ready to dip my toes into DNA and photography.
Awesome. Yeah, same. I'm very curious about the DNA side. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. Step one, stage one is open source culture bank. It's kind of utilizing that. You can do whatever you want, right? Whether it's DNA sequencing, applied mycology for microremediation, food, technology, medicine, or whatever. I think it all starts centrally with the culture bank, and that's what we're just trying to get that chipped away. Starting the stage for that.
I think it's important for each state and each locality to have somewhere that they can go for their native species. Of course, fungi and all other organisms, they don't listen to our artificial state lines. So it's not like there are some particular species that are only found in Texas and Oklahoma, like the devil's cigar. And so there are some species that, of course, you wouldn't be able to go out and to collect the mushrooms that are delicious, but to actually clone and to keep and to regrow the mushrooms. And so the idea of collecting mushrooms, and I actually take people out on forays with agar, showing them how to do the cloning. And it's not always going to be the cleanest because we're out in the open air. We don't have a mobile lab like you do. But it's exciting because people have never seen it before, and it gives them that opportunity to learn. And so I think teaching people how to clone the mushrooms that they already love to eat is that next step to getting them from what I heard you say, myco-curious to myco-serious.
Yeah, and all the way to myco-lovers.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you a little story. So this tattoo represents exactly what you're talking about, and really what I had a spark of curiosity that sucked me in regardless. But one of the biggest like milestones for me as someone entrenched in this sort of space, in the cultivation, all that kind of stuff, was being in Costa Rica, finding a Psilocybe cubensis right outside this place I was staying, taking a spore print, flying back with it, and then growing it to completion again, and just like working with that over time. But honestly, like that was really pivotal, or really important in the evolution of my trajectory into this space. So I definitely appreciate that.
I have a similar experience. On June 9th of 2022, I came across a naturally occurring Psilocybe cubensis in Oklahoma. So before then, it hadn't really been well documented. I had my camera that day. I had all my, I had a ruler so I could take measurements, and so I made a whole video, and it was a great time. That video has since been taken down because of YouTube regulations. But regardless, from that one day of finding that spore, and if you go to my Instagram, Oklahoma Fungi, it's in the top right corner of my page. So that's the mushroom that I now sell and that gift out as Oklahoma Wild.
Nice.
And so from that first day of finding it, collecting a spore print, and then regrowing out the culture and spreading the spores, we're now at over 1,000 different units, whether it's syringes or swabs that have been given back out.
Nice.
Distributed to the community.
Well, we would love a culture for the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Headed your way.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You kind of answered this, but I just maybe there's some other stuff to unpack there, maybe not. No worries, no pressure. But the thing that drives me and the curiosity from myco-curious to myco-serious for me is the drive of innovative technology or innovation in the space, or things on the prospects of future mycological endeavors. What do you think is, I guess two-parter, like, is there anything in the next year or two that is projecting you into the space that you're excited about? And the second part, is there any sort of novel ideas, concepts, anything that sort of you see as the future for what we're doing here?
For me in particular, in Oklahoma, one of the things that I'm really striving to work towards is to become an author for our first official mushroom guide. So
nice.
Our state doesn't have a guide. Our neighbor to the south, Texas, has one. To the east, Arkansas has one. To the north, Kansas has one. And to the west, New Mexico has one. And so our state being in the center, we have 12 different ecoregions, which means our diversity is really high. I'm really interested in becoming an author and to be writing more about our state's natural flora, fungi, fauna. And so, I think that in the future, I'm going to be getting more into writing, into guides, into potentially children's books. I just turned 27, and so now I'm starting to think more about families and what my kids are going to be reading, what I want them to read, and so.
Or have access to. I mean, we want
to have access to. I mean, it's. I think the ability to engage with them on a much younger level, and so I only really got into mushrooms, really when I was 21-ish, 21, and so. Almost 8 years ago, 7 years ago, really. And so I think that if we can provide that education, provide the accessibility early on, we'll see them go light years ahead of us. Awesome. Just the goal.
Yeah, not sick.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug? Socials?
Yeah. For Instagram, it's Oklahoma Fungi. It's the Mushroom Festival, it's OK Mushroom Festival. For the website for the festival, it's okmushfest.com. For my personal website, oklahomafungi.com. I'm on all the other platforms. Typically, it's just Oklahoma Fungi. I'll be hosting our festival. So if you're in Oklahoma, near Oklahoma, please come out. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of really great speakers coming from all over the country for their first time in Oklahoma. So nice. It's a good time to have people who don't have interest coming to Oklahoma. We convince them with the mushrooms.
Nice. Yeah. The mushrooms will bring the people.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that. I think we could definitely work something out. We'd love to have attendees learn more about the importance of bioprospecting, genetic sequencing, and just overall lab technique.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.